All right, let's talk about a book we read. Sworn to the Night. And I'm looking at the list of books, and I realize I've written Detonation Boulevard as Detonation Boulevard. So,
I
yeah. So
Monkey Avenue.
yeah, we read this month. We read. God, I keep forgetting it. Sworn to the Night, the first book in the Wisdom's Grave trilogy. I guess also With Me Are the Normal People Who Are Always With Me. If you're listening to this and this is where you're starting, this is not the book where you should start, because this is like the series where all other Craig Schaefer books cross over. So like, don't start here. Start literally anywhere else, and you'll be in a better position.
That's Eve.
Yeah.
And Zimjulian. That was Shem. The other person was
That's
Dijon.
Michelle.
Okay. So, who wants to give a summary? I can try to give the summary, but I just finished reading A Time for Witches, and it's definitely maybe gotten a little confused in my head.
Yeah, since it's been a week, I did fill my head with horrible MM romance books.
I can try, but
sure, it's
gonna
not
be very choppy.
That's fine.
Pointed me at Dijon.
I mean, I can do it if you want.
No, it doesn't matter. Anyone can do it. We can all do it at once, and we'll just talk over each other.
Yeah, okay, I'll oh boy. Alright, let me see if I can.
This book has a lot and also not a lot.
It is
It might be easier I guess it might be easier to break down, because there's like
it's a long book.
Yeah,
okay,
there's
let's start with the easy trailing threads first.
Yeah, okay, here's what
talk about the trailing threads.
Because there's almost like 3 different stories happening, and then they converge into one story. There's Mary's story, there's Nessa's story, and then there's the Harmony Black / Daniel Faust story that is kind of tied up together. And they all converge. Jesus, Eve. But they all converge.
There's no conversion. I can talk about Harmony Black and Daniel Faust to give Shell time to pull thoughts together.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, do it.
So, Lady in Red, who I know more about, but I can't talk about that book yet.
Same.
They're meeting up with their best buddies, and it turns out extra dimensional witches, someone we haven't met before, and crap, what's her name? Mourner? No.
The Mourner, yes.
Yeah.
Mourner, the creepy lady who lives in a desert cave.
Neon Boneyard and stuff. Yes.
The Noose Woman.
It turns out they are extra dimensional witches. They're like, yes, there's this new one of our new sisters is awakening. We will give her things. And it's like, well, I have my agent. And the witch we have never met before is like, yo, nerds, I'm just gonna go murder some people later.
Jesus, Eve.
I mean, that is true.
That is the essence.
The Mourner's agent is Faust.
Yeah.
And being Faust, he will not do anything unless the life of him and his friends are directly threatened, so she does that.
Yes.
She has the lead on a location of another cutting knife, which is also conveniently on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It is owned by Cannibal Guy Fieri.
God damn it, you stole the joke I was going to make later.
It's not a joke, it is text.
Yeah, that's why it's a joke. That's why it's a joke, it's just literally what happened.
It is textually in the book. Anyway, so Faust farts around. He's like, oh, I don't want to, but she's going to kill me and then my family. So he he fouls around, breaks into his apartment, and realizes, oh, he's a cannibal. With some more investigation, he figures out where his cannibal restaurant is, and he breaks in, steals a knife, kills Guy Fieri, and presumably all of the diners in the restaurant.
Hell yeah. Love to see a cannibal killed. I stand that.
And that is Faust for this book. He
Yeah.
gets in, gets out, does his stuff. Meanwhile, the lady in red, she goes to a ink warehouse, and she straight up murders everyone. But she does it with a pack of Dragonback playing cards. Naturally, all this supernatural horse piss she does attracts Harmony Black, and Harmony's like, I only know one person who kills people with Dragonback playing cards.
It's heavily suggested that she should think that.
But he's dead.
Or is he?
I really want to murder Daniel, but all my evidence is pointed to New York. Guess I'll go to New York. And we kind of don't get a lot of harmony in this book.
Yeah, we do get a little bit more harmony in the future. My biggest regret is we don't get as much harmony as Daniel as I wanted. Because I really like... Okay, no, we'll talk about it later.
And I guess for the sake of prosperity is the new witch. She decides to brutally murder a bunch of people in a warehouse by doing some fate manipulation.
Yeah, did you guys
manipulation?
Did you guys figure out who she's supposed to be? It's never explicitly stated, but
nope.
Okay. Anyone want to take a guess? It's really not important, and I'll tell you because it doesn't
Do we have the clues in just this book?
Yeah, and then there's some more clues in the next book, and then I can't remember if she's in the third book all that much.
It's some horse shit from probably a bad thing I don't want to think about.
No.
Yeah.
No. Does anyone want to take a guess? We can wait till the next book, but I feel like I'm definitely gonna forget that I placed this little fun thing we're gonna do.
I picked on who she was, but I also forgot what her name is. So.
She never. I don't believe they say her name.
No, it's in this.
No, they do. They say her name is Dora, I believe is what they say.
Dora.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's probably the biggest clue. But in later books, she is seen with a jar. It's not subtle.
What?
Yeah, she's Pandora. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Pandora.
Craig has a big love for Greek mythology. Dallas, please get the fuck off my computer. Okay.
Yeah, whatever. she just brutally murders a bunch of people in an antiques warehouse for no real reason.
Yes.
So she can change the shipping label on an obsidian mirror.
Yes. I don't think we're ever told why she has to do all those murders and why she can just sneak in. But sure.
I assume because she's shit.
I think that's just how she could sneak in. That is her way of sneaking in is a bunch of convenient murders that take everyone's attention.
No, she could have done it in literally any other way. I think she just likes killing.
Yeah.
Even stylish.
Yeah. So the other two characters that we actually have to
note, in theme is that she kills men.
Yes. Because if you know anything about the myth of Pandora, that actually adds up. She's not.
Also, his whole thing with these witches is men are bad. It's not wrong, but also.
I was gonna say, Ghost of Gotham also has that theme.
I was gonna say that's been the running theme with witches in general.
Yes. And
I've already talked about this.
Yeah. So, the other two characters we actually have to give a shit about are one we've already been introduced to in a Harmony Black book. Mary Renault, I believe is her last name, or something Reinhardt or something like that. Whatever.
Reinhardt Renault is from the.
Yes.
Is from
Her. It's her other incarnation. Again, the book is not subtle about this. Like.
Oh no, not in silence.
She literally is reading a book about her fucking. I don't know if you caught this, but she's reading reading a book about her past self or whatever. Like, it's not subtle.
Which is
but
Craig Schaefer. She's reading Craig Schaefer's books.
She's reading Carolyn Saunders. Yeah. But she
maintain this fiction. I know.
but it is fiction.
But she is a she's a detective in New York City, and she is on a case involving ink and a missing girl, who in a side type deal we find out has been kidnapped by a lodge that has dedicated themselves to the King of Wolves or whatever his name is, and they hunt humans for sport at an old zoo in New York. And I can't remember the name of the zoo, but it's really not important.
I want to say Vanderbilt, but it's not Vanderbilt.
It's Vander something. Vander D something. It's whatever. It's
in one of my million notes, but I forgot what they were because it's been a week.
Yeah. And the other character we have to actually give a shit about is Nessa, which is short for Vanessa Ross, I think is her full name.
Mm-hmm.
She's a teacher at New York University or whatever.
Professor.
Yes. She is in a loveless marriage with famous senator who's from another Daniel Faust book, Alton Rand or whatever his name is.
Son, Roth.
Yes. Son, who's also part of the lodge that hunts people, but she doesn't know that.
I'm sensing a subtle commentary going on here.
God damn it, Heave. But she's in a loveless marriage. She's unhappy at her job, which is about she's like a woman study professor, and her specific focus is like witch folklore and how it relates to feminism, which is slightly on the nose, Craig. But she has also started down the path of witchcraft because she found a book in a bookstore. It's called something like
writers who use subtext.
But she's caught up on the book. The way it's structured is that it slowly reveals spells to her based on her learning level. It's called like Tricks for the Cunning or whatever. But she's stuck on a spell to summon a familiar, and she keeps messing it up. She doesn't know why. She's extremely frustrated. She's also like big time in depression. It basically, and a lot of her parts have her going to her therapist. So that's the setup for everything. I'm going to go through this real quick because
please.
Yeah. So Mary is investigating the missing girl who is tied to ink. She and her police cop partner, whose name I can't fucking remember, end up going to it should say how much of a non-character he is in my mind that I can't remember his name.
Stony.
Yeah, but they end up at a stash house for ink, and they bust it, and everyone but Mary's convinced that like this is the end of the case, but she's not so sure, and she keeps like going at it until it leads to
after she's been suspended mind.
Yes, because her whole thing is she wants justice because she wants to be a knight. God damn.
It's paid leave because of a weapon was somebody died.
Because she isn't an officer-involved shooting.
She's not suspended until later.
Yes. So, but it eventually leads her to Nessa and I can't remember the son's name. Alton Rand Jr. What was it?
Who cares?
Yeah. It eventually leads her to them, and
oh right, Craig Subtle. It's Richard.
Richard Roth.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Roth. There we go. But eventually leads her to Roth, and she goes to question him, and he's not home, but you know who is? Nessa, and their eyes meet, and they immediately fall in love. Because they are, I mean, if you've been following along, Nessa's the witch, and Mary's the knight. They are fated to fall in love. Then for like an eternally long time, they play like will we, won't we, even though we, the reader, know that they will eventually like get together. It's really strange. I don't understand.
A lot of the middle of this book has what I call term floating around.
Yeah, it's very strange because I would think one of the like benefits of having like the setup that this book has of like we the reader are not going into it blind for the most part. We know that they are fated to get together. It's like basically stated outright when the intro happens by Carolyn Saunders talking to someone. It seems very strange that like the big portion of the middle of the book is them just being like, will we get together or won't we get together?
We do get some stuff about the person who created Ink, Savannah Cross.
Yes, she's the main antagonist of this.
She is a high up in the network, and notably, her and Smith are on different like arms of a network.
I mean, she's on several arms, considering she's a Dr. Octopus.
Yeah.
The point is, they give the impression that like he's actually higher up than her, but she doesn't report to him.
Yeah.
They're in different cells.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're just going to cut out the middle of this fucking book where they mess around like, will they get together or not? They get together. It's also revealed that Dick Roth has paid off Nessa's therapist to basically prescribe her drugs that will make her feel worse. And Nessa finds out...
Suicide pills.
Yes, basically, it's suicide pills. It's literally pills that will like just make her feel more depressed and lifeless. And she finds out, and I don't know, I really like this scene, but she like goes there and like confronts him and uses magic to basically make him swallow a bunch of razor blades. I was like, that's rad. I like that imagery of him swallowing razor blades. Fight me. But yeah, no, I like that. And she finally, like, once she like stops taking these pills and she realizes, she embraces her own power, she realizes that the familiar she thought she was summoning, which was like a deer, was not in fact her familiar. It was the offering for her real familiar, the owl. Because I want to stress
subtext.
Yeah, I want to stress that I still really liked this book a lot, but there's like it reads a lot clunkier because it's definitely a setup for like the rest of these books, because like Craig's doing double time of like having to explain something like that, like anyone that had read the other books would already know, but like definitely new readers need to read. But like it feels weird because this is anyways.
Let's not pretend that there are people who didn't read the Revenge Cycle.
The notable bit in all of the middle is she gets the obsidian scrying mirror.
Yeah.
And her and Mary do some scrying, and they get the message from the Revenge Cycle.
Yeah.
Hey, you're fated to die, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Mary is also captured by the Lodge, and they fill her full of ink, and ink has been said to like open your mind to like other dimensions and other realities. And because Mary has lived a life in theoretically infinite realities, all this does is all this does is make her remember her past lives and make her really fucking like crazy. Not crazy, but like she suddenly gets like really skillful with like being a knight. And she goes to fucking town on these people. There's a pretty rad fight in the zoo of Mary and Nessa basically killing the entire lodge.
Yeah, for weeb.
Yeah. And I believe, like, at one point, like, there's another character that we didn't mention because, like, she wasn't important in this, but Mary's roommate is, like, a librarian. And
Janine.
yes. She shows up and, like, throws Mary's fake-ass sword at her, and Mary catches it. Oh, no, sorry, I'm thinking about something else. Sorry. I'm thinking about something in A Time for Witches. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm losing my mind.
She's just her roommate. She's a normie.
Yes, no, sorry. Sorry, I should say that.
Go have sex with your girlfriend. Wink.
Sorry, there's a really cool fight scene in Time of Witches that I got super confused with. Sorry. It's also
what she does throw Mary is a police baton, like an extending police baton, to which Mary says, "This is illegal," and her roommate says, "Yes, it is."
Yeah. But there's a cool fight scene in this.
She's way cooler than anyone in this fucking book.
Who, Janine?
Yeah.
Wow.
Listen, you're suspended, and I'm a librarian, so that technically makes me outrank you.
I'm starting to suspect that he has specific feelings about this.
We'll find out in a second. And then the book just kind of ends.
One thing is because unlocking familiar makes Nessa levitate small rocks off the ground and descend into godhood. She becomes immediately the best at magic and kills Savannah, but Mr. Smith shows back up to inject Savannah's remains full of ink, and she's still around and is gone.
Yeah, she's a weird, like...
A bit weird.
Yeah. But it kind of ends there. Mostly because, like, we're going to deal with consequences in the next book because Craig knows how a 3-act structure works. He's seen Star Wars. Yeah. So, like, we end on a high note, basically. And, like, they're coming into their power, even though we, the reader, know that, like, they're destined to die. They also know they're destined to die. And Nessa has thoughts about that.
That's
Destiny sucks.
A broad reason why I'm being not nearly so harsh in this book. This is the first book in a trilogy.
Yeah. So, real quick. The book is... It's simultaneously trying to be a thing for people who've enjoyed all of Craig Schafer's other books, but also being an introduction book. And because it can't choose one side or another, it's probably the worst of the 3 books in this series. It's very strange. I still like the book, but it's not my favorite of the 3. That will be the final book. I think the final book's extremely fucking good.
We'll see.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, so I guess Dijon's been quiet, so now it's his turn. Best feminine shapes. Did you have anything in this book you liked? Get like a favorite part?
I mean, the parts where, like, as with all of Craig's books, the magic is cool. Like, whenever magic happens, it is neat and different from like magic that I'm used to. Like, it's definitely like not like traditional like wizard magic. So I'm always into Craig's magic. I guess my favorite scene is the scene where Faust kills Cannibal Guy Fieri.
That's a good one.
I like the Faust bits.
Faust bits are very...
Say that.
Yeah, because he's not trying to explain who Faust is for the most part. He just lets, like, Faust be Faust. It's fucking rad.
And we do get a nice reminder is that Faust seems underpowered because he's always going up against essentially god-level threats.
Mm-hmm.
You get the occasional nice reminder. We get the nice reminder in this book that we get occasionally that Faust is incredibly scary.
Yes. Faust is quite good at magic. It's just usually, goes up against some bad people. I like the Guy Fieri stuff. That was fun. I thought that was
But
funny.
no, he goes up against gods essentially.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, it's fun. I like it. Shell, did you have a favorite part or a part you like best? Or
I liked the antagonist.
okay,
Which
yeah.
Oh,
well,
sorry, Savannah Cross.
okay,
Oh.
yes,
okay.
I definitely agree with that. I'll let you do your thing, and if I have something different to add, I'll do that.
I enjoyed that she was she's a very she's got the good thing going with that Craig will do with the kind of the interesting and definitely like lively feeling character, somebody who has like a lot going for them already. Like she feels like somebody. She has priorities. She has like her she has a very well, I find the fun sort of evil scientist thing going.
Yes.
And I just thought that she's a very good she's a very good villain, and I don't usually like it very much when villains are suggested to just be constantly coming back, but I'm actually kind of interested in how she's going to come back.
Yes. Her.
She has already changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So I want to see what that results in.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned that like when she comes back, she's not going to be what I like about her. Which is what I like about her is, yeah, I'm going to solve magic.
Hey.
I kind of think that I'm kind of not as worried about that because
great news, Dijon.
She does break it. She does break it. Like when she breaks in and saves the weeb, to make her. She's like, so I'm going to try and so I'm going to be taking a different approach. And describes it as a new methodology for her experiments. That she is now going to try to be a witch with a knight and see how that goes.
She's trying to break fate. She's trying to like science fate. It's very fucking funny when she does it.
Yeah, and I enjoy it.
So this go. Sorry.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed her a lot. I liked knowing that she was unrepentantly like evil, but in a very impersonal way. That's always nice too when your villain isn't like when your villain's ego is more in the other things that they're doing rather than their evilness.
Mm-hmm.
So that was neat.
Something that I appreciate about about Craig's books as in general is that he is not afraid to write a villain who is completely irredeemable. Like, yeah, this person's a shitbag. Like you are not intended to
bad people.
Craig
about them at all.
Is clearly not afraid to write protagonists who are irredeemable.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I mean, none of them have. I mean, Harmony has been, but Daniel hasn't been.
Especially about this book.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go on what I like.
Yes.
And it's continuing on Savannah in that she is very sciencey. In that specifically she casts using math.
Mm-hmm.
And
fucking unknown army shit.
Equations.
I was really glad that we got to see that.
I'll point this out. Let Z1 be Z squared plus Z, and let Z2 be Z1 squared plus Z.
Very good.
That is, in fact, describing the Mandelbrot set.
Yes, it is.
Damn it. I don't want to learn, Heave. I don't come online to learn. All right, what is actually the
the Manchurian Candidate?
The Mandelbrot set is that sort of bulbous, kind of heart-shaped looking fractal that you think about when you think about fractals.
Okay.
It's a heart-shaped box of springs and wires. It's a Dayglow.
No. You don't get to make that reference because the song, the Mandelbrot set, does not describe the Mandelbrot set in that part of a song, but you know what I'm talking about.
Meanwhile, Nirvana's heart-shaped box, all about it.
Fucking.
Because that bit, he is not making a Joko reference because he screwed that up, and his lyrics are that Z1 be C squared plus C, where it should be plus a Z. Joko describes the Julia set, whereas this is a Mandelbrot set.
God, guys, come on.
I don't.
Million Z's will always
follow
stay
you.
close to Z, never trend away. That points in the middle.
See, I am a nerd. I know these things.
You don't say.
I did not realize he wasn't saying Z. I never knew he was saying C.
Nope, he screwed up.
Huh.
So he's describing the related Julia set and not the Mandelbrot set.
Oh. Well, good for him that Z sounds like C.
And on some minutia, she being Mary is really into Craig Schaefer's books, and we'll just keep saying that. I don't care.
Yeah, that's fine. It's literally Craig Schaefer, but from a different universe.
And also, I'm going to point out that she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm super into the Revanche Cycle. I fucking hate his Daniel Faust books."
Yeah. Except remember, in this world, that the Daniel Faust books are set in the same world as the Revanche Cycle, but they're about Daniel Faust. So like, it's weird old timey Daniel Faust.
Yeah.
Donatello Faustus or whatever.
Yeah, we do get a snippet of Donatello Faustus.
God, in an upcoming Faust book, we're gonna get a snippet of alternate reality Faust, like on the page, and I'm so fucking excited for you guys to read it. Because I quite enjoy the snippets of like the alternate reality like books we get in this series, because like, I don't know, I love the like sort of familiar, but like that's not right feeling they give you.
Oh yeah, I guess this book is also has the frame story of the Kings, the Network, and Agent of the Kings, kidnapping
Carolyn Saunders.
Schaefer.
And she's telling them the story of how
she's telling them this book.
Yeah, she's specifically telling them the story of how because this gets mentioned. It's not a spoiler. They want to know how Nessa and Mary killed God or whatever. And that's like, that's the payoff. At some point, they're apparently gonna
cliffhanger.
Oh, God,
yeah,
so they're gonna attack.
The cliffhanger in this book
there we go.
Is that Saunders also has the witch key.
Yeah.
Which
okay.
It seems like that's cheating to double down.
Okay, so my favorite part is it's about the villains that only really matter in this book, the Lodge, except for the guy that gets whisked away at the end, the weeb. I like how they're portrayed.
Described as, yes.
Yes, I like how they are just portrayed as like shitty frat bros, and like that shitty frat bro sense has allowed them to basically murder people for power. I think that's probably the most like. I think if like frat boys had access to vast magical powers, and you said like, well, there's the hard way of getting power where like you have to learn stuff, or you could kill people in Bloodsport and worship a guy called the King of Wolves, the frat boys would be immediately like, yeah, let's just kill people, guys. Let's just kill people. It fucking ruled. And then when they get murdered, it's also very good. It was very cathartic to me. Because I fucking hate shitty frat bros.
Agree.
Craig knows how to write good villains, and even though they get all murdered, I wish they would have come back.
Here's a snippet. Hey, ghouls! Donatello Faustus had faced defilers of the living, the blood-drinking fiends of Nephara.
Yes.
But these were no mere vampires. The cave was filling with the shambling half-human nightmares, and their fangs tore into the bloody, chained limbs of a fresh victim. The Master
Fuck
Thief's
yeah.
blade snicker-snacked from his...
It's so good.
Snicker-snack.
It's so good.
Yeah,
It's
which he does, which like Craig and like well, Carolyn and Bikes and Craig called themselves out for making a Jabberwocky reference.
Yeah.
And for being a hack.
Oh, really? I'm not that hacky, am
Also,
I?
I don't recognize if this is supposed to be a Faust scene we've seen before.
no, because
I don't think
in
so.
in the one where Faust goes to jail, it's or somewhere, but it's been revealed that like she takes visions she has of Faust, and she turns them into stories, but they're not 100% accurate because her visions of Faust
Yeah.
happen in like modern day, whereas her visions of like her other storybook characters have all like they're from like a past life or something. So
But-
I believe this is a fake scene. It's still so fucking funny though.
I mean, also the scenes we have seen do vaguely match up to things. So
Yes. The thing is, she only can see like when he got the thief title. So like when he wasn't the thief, she doesn't have any info on him, and then like as soon as he receives the title, she starts like getting visions of him. So
she does have a whole crazy board.
yeah, she
about
she
all
does
the
do that.
icons. It's like the knight and the witch they're in play.
Yeah, God, I love Carolyn Saunders. Even though she's literally just Craig Schaefer.
That's describing Craig's apartment. Because I know for a fact Craig has a board with yarn and shit plotting out his characters.
No, it's
And
fucking
murders.
literally just gender swapped Craig, and like it's so good. Fucking it's rad.
Like she's single, just whites all day.
Alcohol problem.
She has an alcohol
really
problem.
likes booze.
Yeah. Though I'm pretty sure Craig, he likes the booze. He's not an alcohol. I think he's exaggerating some of.
He's playing it up.
Yeah, it's really good. I would also not call Craig a hacky writer. Carolyn's absolutely a hacky writer, though.
But
I think-
again, it's him.
Yeah,
The
it's
best
him.
character is you turned up.
Yes, it's him. If
This is
like
Craig turned up.
if he didn't have a
I think
filter.
it's taking it. It's also
Self-deprecating.
yeah, one self-deprecation is often a way to make oneself feel a little better about their insecurities.
Yeah, no, it's good.
It also makes the pill of having a literal self-insert character a little bit easier to take
Yeah,
when you're just like, I'm making fun of myself.
yeah.
Yeah,
I also
shit.
yeah. Yeah, it's a good way to do a self-insert. I like Carolyn. I like her as a self-insert character. I'm gonna like other versions of Craig that get introduced in the story because there's every single one of them is a fucking dumbass. It's good. Okay. Parts you didn't like. Let's start with best feminine shapes again, and we'll work our way to heave. How's that sound? Best feminine shapes. That's your name now, dude.
That is me, BFS.
Oh, there's a lot.
And did you?
Kind of none of it and all of it. This book didn't
Okay.
really make me feel a whole lot.
Yeah, I get that.
Like I didn't dislike the book, but like there was nothing particularly like my high point was like this really minor thing that didn't really have much to do with the plot at all.
Mhm.
And that was just me kind of reaching, and nothing really like stuck out to me as like bad. It was just kind of all like
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, just which is I guess like kind of makes most of it a low point because in my ideal world, like books make me feel things.
Yes, even if
This
it's
book didn't really.
yeah, good
Like,
art
the razor
makes
blades
you
may be uncomfortable, but
okay. I like the razor blades.
The-
I thought that doctor fucking deserved it. Fuck that doctor.
the F-bomb,
I have words about that.
Fuck that doctor. Don't like him.
the hard F slur also made me uncomfortable, but I understand it was
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
characterful reasons.
No,
I guess.
fuck off. You can communicate that without printing slurs in your book.
Yes, I agree. I agree with Eve. There were better ways to see.
And I know you. I
Sorry,
know
go ahead.
same D word for lesbians is much more reclaimed. It's super uncomfy just with head guys slinging that around.
Yeah, and if so, just a real quick thing. This book series has won several like LGBT like awards. That's not spoiling anything. Because like I think Craig is pretty clear about his LGBT stance. And if I didn't, if I went into this in a vacuum without knowing that like Craig was super into like he was super supportive of LGBT people, and I hadn't read like any of his other books, the F slur and like all that shit would I'd be immediately turned off. So like the context of I know who Craig is and I've interacted with Craig and Craig's actually a nice guy, but it's still very uncomfortable. Because as far as I know, Craig is a cishet white guy.
And like everything about the frat bro murder cult is purposely toxic masculinity, murder,
Yes.
homophobia, but it sucks.
There's better ways I think to get across the homophobia like thing, like because there's this whole subplot of Weeaboo guy is like 100% into Dick Roth, like
yeah.
In a that's it's
But
implied that
eventually Ridley says no homo.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets accused of like what's her face, science witch lady, like literally says at like one point like, oh, you're taking his death really hard. Were you two fucking?
Yeah.
No, I'm not a.
Yeah, it goes into the trope I don't like of like homophobic people are secretly gay. I don't know. That's the I didn't like that. I thought that was a little gratuitous. But there's definitely better ways of like showing that someone is homophobic.
I don't want it explicitly on the page. I can fill in those blanks. Don't just demonstrate it to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a real bummer. Like I said, I like the Lodge guys. I like their characterization is like hyper toxic masculinity, but the implied like he's homophobic, so he's gay thing is one of my least favorite tropes in literature and in real life.
Even staying aside, like he's gay, it's the I just don't need the explicit homophobia. Like from everything else you've told me about them, I can fill in that blank.
Yeah, and I think there's ways of making them like homophobic without using like the F slur.
Without even being this explicit about it.
Yeah, there's I think better ways to do it. It's a real fumble for Craig.
Yeah, I'm not doubting that it does have good representation in it.
Yeah,
the awards are deserved, but this is like the first book.
Yes.
In a trilogy, and not into it.
Yeah, and again, if we didn't have the context of who Craig Schaefer was, I could definitely see someone reading that and dropping like this book. Yeah, I don't know, or like not having like I don't know. It's very.
I don't know, like. Yeah, I don't know if like as I guess as far as books to like make that mistake, this is one of the better ones just because it is like an explicitly like it is explicitly like a sapphic book, like
yes,
literal lesbians in it, so like it's very clearly like pro LGBT.
Yeah.
Like is literally about like a woman who is like a woman who is trapped by heterosexuality, finally finding her bliss with a woman lover.
Yeah, that's very explicit, and I appreciate themes of that. And this is a personal thing: is I really hate the destined lovers thing.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a second. I want Shell to.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I want Shell to go ahead. Shell, did you have a part you did not like?
I did. What was it? I had it and it went away.
Oh no. Do you need a second to think about it?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna hop over to Heave. Heave.
Yeah, there's a bunch. I wasn't into this book.
Okay.
So first off, yeah, the characters are still horrible.
I mean, I appreciated that this time the gaslighting was unintentional.
Well, okay, let me go. So first off, Mary, like, okay, for one cycle, Mary, she starts out but idealistic, bushy-tailed, and horrible shit happens to her. She gets horrifically gaslit, and it's a bad scene, but it's an arc.
Yes.
In this one, she starts off as a horrible person.
Okay. Yeah, that might just be because there's 3 books in this series and she needs a longer arc because she's a main character.
She just starts off so bad.
I mean, she's also a fucking cop, so
she's
accurate.
A cop, and she is a bad cop. She's a really fucking bad cop.
Oh, terrible.
She
has humongous anger issues.
Yeah, and she uses the law to justify taking her anger. She's the worst example.
All she does is beat the shit out of people because she's a cop.
Yes, she uses the law on her side to justify why it's okay for her to beat the shit out of someone. In the Revanche cycle. Sorry, go ahead.
This is not supposed to be like I don't think it's supposed to be like a sympathetic portrayal. Like, this is supposed to be like, yeah.
Craig does not do sympathetic portrayals of cops for the most part.
I mean, but this was what, 2018?
2017, I believe.
So it's bad enough then, but reading this in 2020 just a real.
Yes, it's so real quick, in the Revanche cycle, Mary was it was implied that before she met the guy who fucking like
Werner.
Gaslights her and shit, Werner, she also had anger control issues. And she like just beat people up constantly. So it's a running theme that she has anger control issues, and how she expresses them changes on depending on her like current incarnation. Like, she's got the law on her side, so she feels righteously justified. It's still fucking bad. But if you know anything about like American cops, they are taught to think like that.
Yeah,
it's an accurate portrayal of an American police officer. I will say that.
Nessa is complicated because she is, like last book, just a complete sociopath, but also Craig is doing everything not unsuccessfully to make her sympathetic because she's also a victim.
Yes.
And all of this just clashes in a way that in this book anyway does not work for me.
Okay.
Yeah, and like because I mean, and like you didn't mention it, but like it clashes with with Mary too, because like Mary shouldn't be a cop. Like she should not have this power, but like someone like the whoever is in charge of like reviewing her case and reinstating her for duty, like that person looking at her history and going, ugh, and tugging at his collar, uh, is like that is like part of the story of the Knight and the Witch, which is like men like beating her down.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Fucking justifiably.
Yeah, this is like it's definitely just. I mean, the guy she beats up is bad, but like that doesn't make it good. Like it's
No, it's just about two people who suck.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I said I wanted to come back around to this, but the whole thing with a therapist, like this is supposed to be this big like vindication catharsis scene. I really hate it. I'm just
rip.
Just not a fan of like the righteous torture murder as a trope.
See, I liked it because you don't have to agree with me. I want to lay out kind of why I liked it. I liked it because it is probably the most effective way to show that like Nessa she's not a good person. She's in fact a shitty person. And like sort of up until then, we haven't seen her be like a shitty person. Like we know from the context of the Revanche cycle that she, like, as soon as she gets any sort of power, she becomes a fucking sociopath, shitty asshole.
And up to that point, in fairness, we do see all the groundwork for her being a sociopath without power.
Yes.
Yeah, and she does explicitly say like she like when she fully embrace like when she goes full sociopath, she just says like, yeah, there's this part of myself that I have been like pushing to the side my entire life, but I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah, I think. Okay, so I don't know. I liked it because I think it was the most effective way to show her like because in a less good book she would get magical powers and she would just be like, oh, I guess I'll do the good thing now and be good. But Craig is remarkably effective at going, no. If someone had been gaslit and like basically almost committed suicide because of her husband was like using her therapist to fuck with her, and she had a consequence way free of murdering someone, and she was already kind of a little bit of a sociopath, like this is what would happen. I think it's an incredible way to establish like how fucking awful Nessa is.
Yeah, I'm there with you on it being like characterful. It is absolutely the Nessa thing to do.
But you just don't like the trope. That's fair.
I don't like the trope. There is like very much like supposed to be this. It feels like it's supposed to be this triumphant moment of like, hell yeah, got him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's something that's fucking undercut by the torture murder for me, and like I said, it's to illustrate that Ness is a horrible person, but I just basically like go like, yeah, I don't like reading this.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, boy, I'm gonna have to read 2 more books of these 2 people being just kind of shitty and having no morals, huh?
Well, okay, so Mary's sort of it gets started in here. Her whole thing is like, what does it mean to be a knight? Like what does that mean? Nessa has no such problems because she fucking hits the ground running being a fucking sociopath. But Mary's whole thing is like, what's it mean to be a knight? Because like, if I'm a knight to this sociopath, does that mean I also have to be a sociopath? And that's probably the more interesting arc that happens in these books, because Nessa's already hitting the ground running being a shitty person. I like that she's a shitty person. I think more protagonists should be explicitly fucking shitty. I know
it's too much.
Fair enough, but I think it's also helped in later books because we don't exclusively, like, if all we got was Nessa's perspective, I agree it would be too much, but we do get Mary's perspective of like, what the fuck is Nessa doing? How am I supposed to be the knight to her when she's doing like murders? I thought knights were about justice. And that's
also,
I'm excited for that.
But also, sorry, like in my view, Mary's already a fucking sociopath, so
interesting. Okay.
Is she didn't get broken like in Move On Cycle. She just started out awful.
Interesting. Okay. I'm
sort of got a reversal, at least in just the first book.
Yeah,
because like in the Revance cycle, she like someone came in to like mute her, and in this one she had no one to come in and mute her. She's basically always kind of herself.
Okay, interesting. I'm actually really interested. I guess put a pin in that because I'm interested what you'll see and think about her in like the upcoming books and if your opinion changes or not. I'm actually really excited to talk about that in like the future. All right, Shell.
Alice. So I don't know. I guess well, first I'll just say I guess my least favorite thing is just that that we had a framing device to begin with, like that we had the revenge cycle to come into it. I think it was totally unnecessary. I get that they had that whole thing had to be set up so we understood what was going on, but at the same time, I wish it hadn't been the same characters. I wish it had been different, so I didn't spend most of the time knowing how the witch and her knight are supposed to be.
Okay.
Because, but with that put aside, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I kind of liked it. I liked this book.
I also liked the book.
I liked it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the gleefulness and unrepentantness of the badness. I liked it. I had a good time. I listened to it over the course of a couple days, and it was a very nice time. I felt I you know, and honestly, I mean, I don't know. We've encountered a lot of characters who are not good. They're very bad.
Yes.
They do very bad things, and they do very irredeemable things. And I don't really see these two as that much of a departure. Also, I would argue that the as far as being muted with Mary, I would say that the being a cop muted her.
She did fucking. She beat up a dude.
Yeah, but
after
but those because those things come out in bursts. She was always tamping back in anger, like a rage. Like we knew that before. We knew that from her appearance in the Harmony Black book too. Like I think that if she hadn't been if she hadn't had anything, she probably would have been beating people to death like constantly. But like also, I don't know. It really like I just have to say I honestly don't know that I consider the actions in this book that different from a lot of the Daniel Faust books. Like I don't see them as a huge step away from a step into immorality the way that you're making it sound. I don't think that is a tremendously fair. It's kind of like it kind of feels like a double standard, actually. And I don't know. I did find those parts cathartic and interesting. I don't care if it's excessive to make a doctor swallow razor blades. I also knew that she was a woman being given pills against her better judgment that were going to depress her and kill her, and all while having to be the inconvenient prop for a man who was lying to her about everything. So yeah, I actually do kind of enjoy the scene where she gets to fool a guy to take the pills that he was giving her, but actually she's making him do what he was making her do, but more immediately. Like I liked it. I enjoyed those parts of these books. This book, honestly. And I had a good time. It's definitely long. I mean, it's felt a little long. It's been that's why it probably in part because I kind of knew the general trajectory of things. But by the time we hit the ending was I really liked the ending. I liked the way everything resolved. I liked their climactic fights. Yeah, I don't know. I like Janine too.
I will say, to your point about the framing device, I think it's interesting. Like, I think the framing device is good in the sense that, like, we, the readers, know how their story is supposed to end, right? But, like, we go into it being like, yeah, we know how this is going to end. And then, like, we're, like, in the middle or whatever, we're thrown the curveball of, like, also remember when they sent that message out? It got out, and now they know everything that you know. So, like, then suddenly we're, like, going from, like, we know the framing device, we know what's happening, to, like, oh, shit, okay. So
I guess I kind of like I guess it's not even so much that. I guess what I'm saying is actually kind of the reverse of what I said when we hit this point in the Revanche cycle. Because what they said was I was actually very upset because I saw in that Nessa the potential for a character that I'd actually like a lot.
Okay.
And it just tanked the moment she was like, and also I'm going to do this horrible gaslighting to her and like make her murder people for fun. Like that, like because I was like, I could have liked this, I could have enjoyed this, but I couldn't even have that. And in this case, it's being mired by that knowledge. Like,
okay.
Having to reconnect everything to the things that happened in the story I didn't like to the things that are happening in the story that I thought did it better.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So good. To draw a quick point to what Joe said, not to quote his you just want to mention something, is that, like, in the broad strokes, it's like, yeah, they are not doing anything that is out of line with, like, what Daniel Faust does, what Harmony Black does.
I mean, it is out of line with what Harmony Black does.
Yeah, Harmony Black.
Yeah,
probably.
If she still will milk a person if she needs to.
And she's got fair. People around her too that are like,
yeah.
Just never tortured anyone.
I just go to point out it's solely what I do not enjoy is, like, the ways in which they do these things that the other characters do, and I don't have issue with. Like, one of the big things in Neon Boneyard was Faust like, no, don't stop talking to your people you're trying to kill. Stop playing with your food. Just kill them.
Just kill them. Yeah, but also, I mean, for Nessa's part, she is supposed to be like an evil, like the evil witch in a story. So, like, it does make sense that she, like, talks to them. like
she's
that.
supposed to be like she's a character.
She's supposed to be like a
power.
2-dimensional, like I say 2-dimensional because she does have other facets, but like she's supposed to intentionally be like cause she's literally a storybook character. But I get what you're saying. I get it.
Running into my personal tastes.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think like the difference for me between like between like what Nessa does in this book and like between this and like Caitlin torturing someone in like a Daniel Faust book is that every time like Caitlin like fucking like tortures and kills and murders and tears apart someone in the Daniel Faust books, there's often like this little piece, because Faust struggles a lot with like, wow, my girlfriend's kind of a monster, huh? This makes me a little bit uncomfortable, but I have to be okay with it because she's my girlfriend, and it's something that he struggles with, and there's no struggle in this book.
Yeah,
like
it's
like there's no one like. I'm glad that you said that like in the future like Mary struggles with Nessa being a shitty person, because in this book like there's none of that. It's basically just like hell yeah, girl power. And there's no one around to go like, oh my god, what the fuck did you do?
Yeah, but like nothing in this book, even when I object to like the righteous cruelty of torturing physician to death, like that's not unearned. Like that is completely valid for her to do that, and leading up to it, so like hell yeah, that's like, oh, this is how we're going, huh? Yeah, it's just like
I like you're just poisoning him.
If you're going to have like a character who is just straight out horrible, it's uncomfortable if you don't have a foil to also be in their head.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. In the future, Mary does act like that foil. I think the problem is like there are so many fucking spinning plates in this with regards to like Craig has to explain like the universe. He has to explain like Mary and Nessa, and he's also got to explain like it's. If there is one thing I guess there's just too much going on in this book, but it also feels like I don't know if they had cut out the bit where like the middle bit where like will they, won't they? I feel like maybe they could have thrown like he could have thrown some better stuff in there. I don't know.
I remember I have to say the joke I teased.
Yes.
Is that this book is Craig's Game Master Anthony.
Yeah. Come on in, guys. That's a good joke. I like that joke. Overall, I like the book. I'm excited.
Same.
I sounded really down on it, but really my opinion is I was not into it.
Yeah.
So like it's bad. It's like
it's just not something you're. Yeah. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's still a Craig Schaefer book, and for the most part, it's a Craig Schaefer book. They're usually pretty good. As much as we did not like the Revanche cycle, those are like the outliers.
Yes.
Honestly, when he's writing modern day urban fantasy, it fucking works usually.
Yeah, to draw a point on it, it's the pieces were there didn't quite come together in this book.
That's fair. Hopefully in the next book,
being thrown the air, I didn't have a chance to catch them.
In the next book, Detonation Boulevard, which we're reading next month. Hopefully the pieces will start to come together for you. This is also, I'm excited to talk about Detonation Boulevard because some shit happens and Craig starts doing some shit that I don't know how to. It makes me feel some way. So I'm excited to talk about Craig being a fucking madman. Yeah. So next month, Detonation Boulevard. And we're rapidly approaching the end of our fucking list, even though I just added a time for witches. We are like, we've got 10 more books on the list. So that's also exciting. We could be done.
Wow, almost a whole year.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Again being a relative term.
Yeah.
Well, we've been at it for a year and a half.
I'm also excited because once we finish Wisdom's Grave, we get to jump into Ghosts of Gotham and the Loot before we get to. I'm so excited.
I really liked Ghost of Gotham.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be refreshing because Ghosts of Gotham and Ghost of Gotham explicitly doesn't take place in like this established universe that we've been in. So I'm really excited. It's going to be a nice little break. Yeah. Shut up. And then the loot technically takes place in the Daniel Faust universe, but like it's all 100% mundane, like neo-noir thriller.
Separate.
Yeah, it's neo-noir thriller. It's pretty. Literally, the only way you know that the loot takes place is that one person is reading a Carolyn Saunders book at one point. That's it. That's literally it. Literally everything else. It's just like a neo-noir action thriller, and it's just really fucking good. I'm excited to like take a breather and step into these other worlds that. And then we get right back into Harmony Black. I'm so excited. But that's not for 10 million years. So yeah, next month, Detonation Boulevard.
I'm really excited.
Yeah. I might move around to Time of Witches so that we can just read Ghosts of Gotham and Times of. We'll talk about it later. Heath, do you have a Craig tweet? I was vamping for so long. I hope you have one.
Oh yeah, no, sure. I found this great classic rock station. The only problem is we keep playing Guns N' Roses and bands that were popular when I was in high school, not real classic rock and... Oh, damn it.
Is Craig like 30-something?
Don't fucking know.
Craig.
That's
Yeah.
an old soul.
No.